Hello, everybody. Thank you and welcome to The Bridge, exchanging our resources across the diaspora. Today, we're going to focus on lyricism and how we are telling our own stories. And we have four fantastic songwriters here that represent all parts of the diaspora. I want to welcome first, generation Nigerian-American from Houston, transcendent MC and songwriter. Please welcome Tobe Ngwiwe. This beautiful dynamic.
It's an honor to be here. Shout out to every Igbo person from Nigeria.
Thank you for being here. This beautiful dynamic artist excels in songwriting, production, instrumentation, rapping, singing. What does she not do? Please welcome Mereba.
Thank you for having me. Shout out to Ethiopia, my motherland.
Thank you for being here. And this is our youngest resident, this multi-platinum artist and record producer, has been the most streamed South African artist on Apple Music for 4 years in a row, with over 170 million streams. Please welcome the newly signed Def Jam Records hitmaker, Nasty C from South Africa.
What's up, everybody? Pleasure to be here. Shout out South Africa in the building.
All righty. And as always, my illustrious host, co-founder of The Roots, MC, actor, playwright, Black Thought.
Peace. What's up? Shout out Sierra Leone. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's really good.
Shout out Guinea-Bissau. All right. And I'm going to start with our origin stories. Tobe, why don't you give us a little bit of the trajectory of where your family is from and where you are from?
All right. I'm first generation born in the United States. Both my parents are from Nigeria. My mom is from Uturu. My dad is from Oka. We are Igbo people. All Igbo people would know exactly what I mean when I say che Igbo Quinn.
I want to know, I'm an African American raised by a long lineage of African American people. So how is that different being raised in a Nigerian home in Houston, in America?
So this is the thing. I have a very unique experience in being that. So when I went to school or when I went outside in my hood, I had a completely Black American experience. But when I went into the house, I had a completely Nigerian experience. My parents did not know the customs and the ways of the hood in America. And the hood in America was a luxury to the village in Nigeria. So I have a very unique experience. It's a very beautiful experience. I think it makes me extremely dynamic in life, especially being from Houston, which is one of the most diverse cities in the nation. So it's beautiful. I got a Black American and a Nigerian experience throughout my entire life. I know all about gumbo and okra soup. You know what I'm saying?
Have you been back to Nigeria?
Yeah. Unfortunately, my grandpa died like 4 or 5 years ago. So I went back to bury my grandpa. Before then, I went back when I was like younger to see all my family. And both times I stayed for a couple months. But Nigeria is a completely different place than the United States of America.
Nasty C, give us a little bit of your history.
So I'm Zulu by birth, by tradition, but my father's Zulu, my mother's Xhosa, so I'm from both sides of the tribe, and I'm a South African, born and raised, born in Joburg, raised in Durban. Yeah, grew up in Durban.
That's what's up. Did you have a lot of support becoming an MC?
I mean, yeah, from the people who understood hip hop and just the culture and everything behind it. Yeah, but as far as like my community goes and my parents, they didn't really understand much of it, so not really from that side. Everybody else that understood it definitely showed me the utmost support.
That's dope. That's dope. Mereba, can you give us your origin story?
Yeah. So my father is from Ethiopia, and my mother is African American. She's from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So I'm kind of a product of the diaspora linking up. When my dad came to America for school, he met my mom and he thought that she looked Ethiopian. So he followed her around campus and bothered her until she would go out with him. So that's that story. And yeah, I was raised, I kind of moved around a bit. They were both teachers. So we would go where my dad could find a job, and then my mom would usually like find a teaching job whichever city we were in. And yeah, it was interesting kind of being raised with two parents from different parts of the diaspora with different cultural backgrounds, but very similar kind of commonalities between them too.
Did you live in Ethiopia?
Yeah, I did. I lived in Ethiopia for almost a year. Life-changing.
Right.
Where in Ethiopia did you live?
In Addis, in the capital.
The capital.
So, yeah, most of my family lives in the capital now, like my closer family. My dad was raised in the capital too. So him and his mom moved to the capital, like from the countryside, and then my family kind of followed one by one. So they're
the year you spent in Addis, like what was it in your youth or more recently?
It was early adulthood. Basically, okay. I went to school for a year, to college for a year. I dropped out. My dad was pissed. My dad was like, "I'm sending you to Africa. I'm sending you back home. You get your shit together." You know, it was one of those things.
Yeah. Okay.
And then I loved it so much, and I was like, it was just one of the best experiences. I'm so grateful for him that he did that he thought to do that. But I was 18. I turned 19 there.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And were you already a musician in your mind? Were you always an artist? Like, how'd you get into music?
Yeah, that was just my thing from when I was like 3 or 4. I was like, this is what I do. I was real serious about it. Like as a kid, I was like, you know, I need my space. I need time in my room to write my songs. Like, I was a very kind of like in my emotions type kid. So yeah, when I went there, I actually started singing with a band there that I found when I went out one night, and I went up and asked them if I could sing with them, and I started like performing there too. So it was.
What was that band?
It was like an Ethiopian reggae band. So they sang in Amharic, but the style of music was reggae, and they were playing like a Lauryn Hill song, but just instrumental.
Oh, wow.
And so I walked up to them. I was like, "If you're playing this, can I sing? Can I sing it?" And
wow.
then I'm like, "Yeah, my taking me on, yeah."
We're talking about the same influential time frame that you're in right now, Nasty C. How often have you come over to the States or traveled abroad across the diaspora? And
to the States specifically, I think I've been there about 6 to 7 times, if not more. Yeah, all parts. Yeah, New Orleans, Atlanta, LA, New York, Seattle. I've been to a couple places.
I remember seeing you perform in Los Angeles, actually.
Where?
Early on. BET, there was a BET after party.
Oh, yeah, 2017, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, how old were you then?
That was like 3 years ago, so I was 20.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was 20.
So when you're coming over, are you just performing? Are you recording? What are you doing on all these trips?
Yeah, I'm doing everything. So like a lot of promo, a lot of recording, and just also making connections, you know, just so I could build like a solid foundation so I could have like a real come up, you know. Like I'm working on my second come up, almost sort of kind of like I'm coming up in the States, you know, even though I'm an established artist here in Africa. This is something that I have to do all over again in the States, you know. So that's always what I'm trying to do, just trying to do my groundwork. From everything, like freestyles on radio, just like hanging out with dudes that rap and just like trying to figure out how we could link and make music and just like connect the dots, you know.
Who are some of your main influences? I mean, I guess African artists as well as artists stateside. Like, what sort of who made you want to do what you do?
T.I. when I was 9 years old, that's the first time I ever paid attention to music, period. Music was always like a background thing, and it's something that's always been in my life, because I think my father was a musician. This is something he never really spoke to me about, but I think he was, because he had like a guitar, he had a vinyl player, he had like a DJ turntable, and then he had one of those little instruments, that the wind instrument. I don't know what you call it.
Harmonica.
Harmonica.
I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. He's never ever spoken to me about like a time where he had an interest in becoming an artist, but I feel like he always had. So music has always been in the background. He writes all the folk songs that we sing. We used to sing at church, and I used to help him write that. So, but I never really paid attention to it like that. It was just always like a background thing. And then this one day when I was going to school, this bus I used to take, they had like a little drop screen. I used to play a lot of R&B and hip hop. This one time I heard the Top Back remix, T.I. with Jeezy in them. And that was really the first time my eyes were like glued to the screen, and I was like, what the hell is this? Like, I was looking at everything from the clothes to the jewelry, the women, the cars, and just like the attitude and everything. And that's just something that I lacked, I guess, and something that I just wanted. As a kid, all you just want to be cool. You want to be cool, flashy, and rich. So that was one of the main reasons why I started. And then as I discovered more artists like Lil Wayne, Busta Rhymes, 50 Cent, I really started to tap into like the storytelling side of it. And that was at the perfect time, because I was just becoming a teenager when I was like 13, 14. So I was like, I'm going through in my life anyways, and I have a lot to say. And I kind of use that as inspiration. All those guys, it was just like motivation and inspiration for me to transcribe everything that was happening in my life into like music.
And was that something that other young people from this is when you were living in Durban? You grew up in Durban, right?
Yeah.
So were other young people in Durban getting into hip hop around the same time or not?
Yeah, but not a lot of them. Like, you get teased if you were a hip hop fan. Like,
really?
Yeah, the genres that dominated was like house music and kwaito and a bit of gospel. Okay. Those are like our top three main genres. But yeah, if you even wore a snapback or big shoes or baggy clothes, like, people look at you like you're crazy. Like, you know, he's always fun of me, call me my man, call me my nigga, like, but like in a mocking kind of like sense. Yeah.
The idea was that you're trying to be something that you're not.
Exactly.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
And we're early on. I mean, I guess at this point you can get production from anyone you'd like to work with. But when you began as a rap artist in South Africa, where did your music come from? So
I had a little computer, smart speakers, and I think I was using like these Nokia headphones with this little microphones, like these old block phone earphones. I was using that as my microphone, but I had FL Studio. So I started out like remaking beats, like very simple beats like Lollipop. Remember Wayne Lollipop? Simple beats like that. So I started just like remaking those beats and rapping over them. Sometimes I even use just Wayne's lines and just change a couple lines and make it sound like it was mine, you know? And then as I kept playing around with it more, I got used to it, and I started having fun with it, like exploring more instruments and stuff like that. I could never really play an instrument, but on FL Studio, like, I'll show you something. You know, that's how I really started playing other people's stuff. And then just the more the passion for it grew, man, the more I just stuck to it, and it's just all I know now.
That's dope. Tobe, are you still there? Yo, what you doing, man? You driving down the street right now? Like,
Oh, I'm not driving at all. I'm in the AC because we in Houston and it's blazing hot. So outside is the video shoot, but so I can hear everything and not be drenched in sweat while I'm talking to y'all. You know what I'm saying? I gotta be. I'm in the AC. So hold on. Let me make sure y'all can see. Low key. Still trying to direct this right here on the low.
Tobe's on set doing a video right now, y'all.
Crazy.
Tell me about your process.
It's different so many times. The majority of the time I'm with this lady right here. This is Nell. Nell, get out the way real quick so you can see my wife. And in the back, that's my babies over there.
I know you have a strong woman core core brand group.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Like 100%.
For some reason, they just get stuff done, and it ain't about or any of the rah-rah type stuff. So
yeah,
for lack of better terms, man. So it's beautiful working with my wife and my sister. Being the main two. We came up together. We was all trash at one point. Together. You know what I'm saying? Everybody was terrible at one point, and we all evolved together as one.
You play football.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I did, yeah. You know what I'm saying? I don't like to really talk about stuff like that until somebody else talks about it. Then we can get really, you know what I'm saying? Then we can really get into what I was doing out there. Yeah, I was out there. You know what I'm saying? I was a Division I athlete. I won MVP at my university. Nah. But yeah, I did play football, man.
So how'd you switch? How'd you go from? What stopped you from continuing football, or what pulled you towards music?
So I've always loved music, but what stopped me from playing football was the fact that I had a career-ending injury for me. I tore a ligament in my left foot. It's called a Lis Frank tear.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had like 16 teams at my pro day when I was in college, but it just didn't work out. So for the first time, I had to figure out who I was outside of Tobe the football player. And what that led me to was starting a nonprofit organization focusing on making purpose popular in Houston and Ailey, really where I came from. And that's what eventually evolved me into music. Because I was doing stuff trying to reach the high school kids, and from the high school I just came from.
T was telling us, you know, people used to make fun of him when he was first getting into hip hop because it wasn't popular in South Africa. Tobe, were you ever sort of, did you ever like experience the opposite?
He said, did I ever get booty scratcher jokes?
Yeah.
100%. Let me tell you something, man. The hood can be a very cruel place, but the blessing about the hood being a cruel place is it ain't as cruel as actual Nigerians. You know what I'm saying? In your house. So the jokes that I experienced at school, them words couldn't affect me like the words that I was receiving at the crib. Like when my mom would look at me and say, which means, look, watch this. Y'all think curse words ain't what y'all think it is. This is what a curse word is. When my mom look at me and say, that means may you doo-doo and never finish.
Damn.
What?
You understand what I'm saying? That's how I was getting talked to as a child.
May you do.
So going to school hearing them little booty scratching jokes, I was like,
that wasn't nothing.
You know what I'm saying? I was able to survive.
That built up quite a skin, right?
Oh, no doubt. I'm talking about elephant hide.
So, and likewise, Mereba, since you were in Ethiopia in the 18-19 range, how were you treated as an American, or were you accepted as an Ethiopian?
I mean, if I didn't speak, people thought I was from there. But, you know, it's just kind of like there's certain expectations of Americans, even if you are Ethiopian, like ethnically, that I didn't really understand fully until I went there. One being like people asking me for money a lot, like people, my family asking me for money, and I was like, I understand. Like somebody came up to me one of the first weeks I was there and was like, and was talking to my cousins, and they're like, "Yeah, our cousins here from America," and they were like, Can you marry me to come to America? Like it's a certain kind of mentality. Like you're from America, so certain things that just you have certain things that are built into being American, which is somewhat, you know, somewhat understandable, but I didn't really recognize that I would be treated like the other there until I got there. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, I thought I would come back here and be like completely accepted, but I have this other background too. And being American is kind of has a lot of things attached to it that being in America as a Black person, you don't necessarily feel like you have those advantages. But you know, from living there, it kind of put things into perspective for me. But for the most part, like, I was accepted as being Ethiopian, you know, and people were very warm and welcoming to me coming home, because people there really admire when someone wants to come home and learn about where we come from and wants to stay connected, because you know, there's kind of a way of thinking there that people in America don't necessarily want to understand the connection back to Africa. You know what I'm saying? Or that there's a superiority complex that I definitely have never felt, but that I have experienced just growing up here. You know what I mean? With those sorts of jokes that y'all are talking about, and some of the connotations of your family being from Africa is kind of negative here sometimes. So I feel like that goes back there, and they kind of expect for us to keep some of that when we go there. I'm like, nah, I've been waiting for this moment like my whole life. I'm home, you know what I'm saying? I'm completely respectful of where I come from, but yeah, I think they kind of expect you to be like, I'm American, you know what I mean? And have that sort of thing.
Do you feel, Mereba, do you feel a responsibility in your music to speak to those identity issues and sort of you know, like the way you've been received both stateside and on the continent? Do you feel like that's something that you have to speak to through your art?
I think so. I feel like I look at it like being a bridge. You know what I mean? Like, to kind of, to form that bridge between people who honestly, we're all supposed to be united in my perspective, you know? I feel like that's really the only way to work towards a collective liberation. So for me, I like to on both sides make people feel like the other side understands them, because I also am raised by two parents of different origins. So I kind of always had to connect them even to each other about certain things. My dad has certain beliefs and certain cultural tendencies. My mom had other ones. And I feel like as their child, I learned to be a bridge between them. And now in my music, I feel like I have that ability to speak to two different experiences. You know what I mean? And kind of, these are the things that we have in common, though. We have a lot of things in common. And it's kind of, it's unproductive to look for the ways that we're different from each other with all of these ways that we're so similar to each other. You know what I mean?
I agree.
Yeah.
Nasty C, have you ever been to Philadelphia?
No, I haven't.
You ain't been nowhere then, boy. You ain't been nowhere yet, man. I thought you was getting around a little bit.
One of my favorite rappers is from there. My favorite comedian also. I have to be there.
Oh, dope. Who's your favorite comedian? Me?
I know you as a musician. I don't know you as a comedian.
Nah, man. Yeah, we got to get you out to Philly, man. It would be dope.
Yeah.
You know, to I mean, yeah, once we're able to do the Roots Picnic again, you know, full contact, it'd be dope to have like a diaspora stage and to be able to present, you know, just some of the artists that I've been meeting, even doing this series, The Bridge. I think it would be dope, man, to get you out there. I think you'd be really well received. I know Def Jam would definitely be into it. But Roots Picnic last year, I want to say last year, the last time we did Roots Picnic in Philly, I just tossed Tobe the mic just on some. I saw him on the side of the stage while me and Mos Def, or me and Yasin Bey and Pharaoh Mantra performing, and you know, I just tossed Tobe the mic like to see if he wanted to jump on his posse cut, and he came out there with the flip flops on and murk shit. Like, you know, that was like my little test, like to see, you know, like how you functioned under pressure, you know, improvise last minute and on a not so slow Southern type of beat, and you, man, you rocked out on that joint, bro.
No, let me tell you something. When y'all pass me the mic on that stage, Neil, you know how you like if you want to get down with somebody, you got to get jumped in first. You know what I'm saying? No, you know how like you got to at least slap box somebody to get down. I feel like when they pass me the mic, it's like, all right, come on, jump out there. Yo, it's time to slap box.
Yeah,
it's time to slap box, and that's like you don't understand. Like it was, I had to memorize like. Let me tell you something. When you pointed at me first, you was like, hey, when you pointed at me, I was like, hey, Ned, who the hell you pointing at? She was like, I promise you, he pointing at you. It ain't me. She said, it's time to jump out there. Go ahead and get on the field. It's time to get on the field. So I was like, bro, my adrenaline was rushing and everything. Not because I never been on no stage before, but just because, like, I know for a fact, like, you know what I'm saying? In Houston, like, we freestyle, like, people can be playing around on the mic. Y'all, I know y'all got at least 100 raps, bars in your head.
Yeah.
And when y'all get on the mic, it's like, yo, I'm finna destroy the mic. I'm not playing around.
He got about 10 minutes worth.
Yeah, he got like he can rap. If I said rap right now, he could go for 20 minutes right now. Yeah, like I got a solid 32 memorized right now. I know he got 100 bars memorized right now. So
without doubt.
I was just trying to show the OGs that, hey, listen, I can fight too a little bit.
I know that's right.
Yo,
you know what really bugged me out was to see Yasin, relinquish his signature microphone. Like I've never seen him like allow anyone else to speak into that microphone. So for him to just get that mic up to you, man.
Now listen, don't try to make it seem like it was me. He only did that off the strength of you. You was like, hey.
But I mean, he ain't give it a second thought. That was like BB King passing off Lucille, like you know what I mean? Like yeah,
that's bro.
Yeah, fun times though. And since then, we've had an opportunity to exchange verses, man. Because you jumped on a song of mine that's is still unreleased, but we got joints in the vault now. I got you on one of my joints. You got me on one of your joints. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like it was definitely a relationship was forged there, man. A brotherhood. So thank you, man. Thanks for rocking out with us.
Bro, it's an honor and it's a pleasure. It's an honor to be around. It's an honor to have a verse from the legendary. It's an honor to be requested. It's an honor to be summoned. It's an honor to be passed the mic. It's everything. You know what I'm saying?
Actually, Bobi Wine is here. We're gonna bring him in. Hey.
So peace.
Hey.
Oh, we're so happy to have you in here. A Ugandan pop star who became the opposition leader.
Great. I'm sorry it took me like a million tries to get on.
Right. Nah, it's good to have you though.
So, I really have a terrible network here, but I'm glad to be here with you guys.
Where are you right now?
I'm at home.
In Uganda?
Yeah, I'm at home in Uganda. I'm sorry. To me, Uganda means home.
Right.
I'm in Uganda. Right. I'm in Wakanda.
We're on with Nasty C from South Africa and Mereba here in the States in Tobe.
Hey guys.
There we go.
Good to be here with you.
All right.
Give us a little bit of your origin story. I know you are like one of the biggest pop stars in Uganda, but now you're a political activist. Why don't you walk us through that?
Well, thank you very much. My real name is Kyagulanyi Sentamo, although I'm mainly known by my stage name, Bobi Wine. I come from the ghetto and I'm very proud of it. I'm an artist, activist, singer, actor, but of late I took a decision to represent my people in the parliament, so I'm a member of parliament as well. I don't like to call myself a politician because I'm not. I'm a freedom fighter and a musical activist. And I use my music to speak and represent the people, especially the common people.
Word. Tell us what took you from solely doing music and then moving into politics. What was the jump off or the tipping point?
Well, I was singing for a long time Originally, when I was much younger, it was about the booty and the cars and the wine. But as I grew up, I saw more need. I saw more need to put my voice to represent the people. And out of my own experiences of oppression, I decided that I should speak for the downtrodden. So together with my friends, we started a social movement called the People Power Movement. And we believe that that way we would rally people, especially the young people of Uganda, who had for a very long time been disconnected to the from the way they're being governed. And yes, I get inspiration from people like Fela Kuti, people like Malcolm X, and people, you know, people like Muhammad Ali, these talent people that chose to use their talent to speak out for those that never had a voice.
Bobi, when you stopped singing songs about more worldly topics, when you started to become more political minded and started speaking more to activism and consciousness in your lyrics, what sort of opposition did you meet? Did you meet more opposition? Do you feel like it became more difficult for you as a musician, speaking about more substance?
Well, yes and no. I mean, it became both difficult and easy. For the common people, I got more following, I got more respect, because for a long time, there was no voice. And again, the common people, especially the elders, saw me as coming of age and as becoming more reasonable. However, on the other side, I got more resentment and more resistance from the government. For example, that is when my music was abolished. As we speak right now, my music is abolished in Uganda, and my shows, by the time the COVID pandemic came, I could not stage my shows. The president does not like my music, and that is why, even without citing any law, I'm not allowed to perform. You know, I got arrested. I continuously get arrested, beaten, harassed, and just a year and a half ago, I survived an assassination attempt.
I think I made a post on Instagram and on Twitter, and yeah, lots of people were really surprised to find out that an artist, would still be in modern day and times persecuted in that way for your musical content. And there was very much conversation about sort of your journey on my social media. What are next moves for you? Like what happens now for you both musically and with regards to Parliament? What are you going to do next?
Politically, I realized that no matter how much I sing, until I can influence policy, until I can influence the major decisions that I'm making for and on behalf of we the people, then we don't expect so much difference, because what I'm doing, so many other people have done it. So many artists that I look up to have done what I'm doing. However, there's one thing that they did not, there's one notch high that they needed to go, and maybe they reserve that for their posterity. So yeah, like I announced recently, I'm going to be running for president of Uganda. One, to empower every person to believe that they have the same ability and responsibility, but also to bring it down to the people, to empower the people, so that for the first time in our country, we get servant leadership, a leadership that whose power emanates from the people.
So we're talking about the power of lyrics.
Like when are these elections going to be?
Elections are going to be in something like 6 months from now. We're having our elections in January next year. That is, if they don't change, because there has been a common talk of the president moving the elections. As you know, music is like magic. Right now, my music is in every household, and the president feels like it's not fair to compete against an artist.
You're saying that the president feels that it's not fair because you're an artist and you are able to reach all of these homes, and that speaks to the power of lyrics. And I want to ask everyone about their lyrics. and the content and the importance of it. So Mereba, how does your content expose your journey?
Well, first of all, I'm very inspired by everything that I just heard.
Right.
For me, kind of like I touched on earlier, I feel like I'm here to encourage people to and nudge people towards their purposes. So a lot of my music speaks to that journey of trying to find yourself and to become in tune and aligned with the purpose that you came on earth to fulfill. So, you know, it's a little more difficult for me to write kind of like love songs, relationship songs. I'm very inspired by music about where the world is and how each individual person kind of has power to empower themselves. And I don't know, I've kind of always been that way as far as writing lyrics. I think that it's a reflection of myself and my own personal journey that I'm on, but also a reflection of my people and what I hope to see change and evolve in our community, you know? So like I have a song called Black Truck, and a black truck is just a metaphor to me of my spirituality and kind of the support that I have from my ancestral line that's keeping me strong right now in a time where there's a lot of confusion, a lot of manipulation of the public. So the song is just about empowering yourself and using that support that you have from spirit to keep going and to push forward in your purpose. And my new music is also very inspired by the times that we're living in right now. I didn't know it would be, obviously, but every time I try to put pen to paper now, I feel like I'm just talking about how we can transform out of this experience and how certain things about this experience have revealed in very plain sight the disparities between different groups of people, the inequality that we already knew was existing, but now you can see it in the way that even this situation has been handled, in the way that our people have been affected by it. So yeah, I think it's my duty. I think it's my duty as an artist to always infuse that purpose into my lyrical content. And I think people kind of want to hear that perspective right now, because I think a lot of people feel uncertain, you know, about where we are.
Nasty C, can you talk about the importance of your content and how you utilize it to expose your journey?
I'm basically just using not only just like my content, but everything that I stand for. So every time I get in front of a camera and every time I get an opportunity to speak and address certain things, I'm always just using that opportunity to change the way people think around here and where I grew up. You know, we're all taught to settle. People are taught not to feel like they're worthy of a good life and being their best selves. You know, a lot of people have a ceiling this low, you know, especially where I come from, you know. So that's all I've been doing, like throughout my whole career. That's all I've been doing, just going back and making sure all my friends in my neighborhood and my neighbors and stuff understand that you could really live the life you want and inspire your whole community and put it on your back and really represent it like that. You know, every time I go back there now, everyone is doing something. If it's not starting up a painting company, they're starting up something else. You know, I have a lot of my friends now becoming actual like national superstar soccer players, you know, and this is all people. We were all just wasting our days, just sitting by the store, just not doing nothing, you know, until I got put onto stuff like the law of attraction and stuff like that, and now that's just all I do, man. I just inspire. That's
it. Nasty C, have you collaborated with any other artists outside of South Africa on the continent?
Yeah. I did a song with French Montana, with Major Lazer, A$AP Ferg. And what's crazy? No, I told you the reason why I even picked up a pen to begin with was T.I. He reached out to me and he's on my up and coming album right now.
Oh, that's crazy.
That's crazy.
Have you worked? Do you work with other African artists?
Yeah. That happens, bro. That's like I've worked with Davido. I worked with Burna Boy. He's also on my album. and just a lot of like, local South African artists. I'm always doing that. I work with them on a song, like I'll be writing the song or something.
Do you have like a squad? Like you have a crew of artists that you collaborate with all the time?
Yeah, and these are all my friends that I brought up with me from Durban.
What do you guys call? Is there a name?
We're not even like a crew. We're just friends. We just tap in every single day. We're doing their thing, I'm doing my thing, but we always just link up. Every time we see each other, it's music. If we're not making music, we're talking about some music.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. And Bobby, do you work with other African artists?
So I do. First of all, allow me to tell Nasty that my son likes him so much, and he sends him greetings. Yeah, sure.
I didn't get a chance to say, bro. I didn't know of you before this, and I'm very inspired by your whole story, bro. You're amazing.
Sure. Thank you, Nasty. And I'm sorry to cut in, but I got a little boy here. He likes Nasty like crazy. His name is Solomon. Yeah, right there. So yeah, sure. I've worked with various artists on the African continent here in Uganda. I've worked with Nameless in Kenya. I've worked with Professor J in Tanzania. And I'm looking forward to work with more artists in Africa. My music mainly has been focusing on the common people here in Uganda because I always wanted to create a certain sense of patriotism. However, the more I'm more known internationally for my political activism than the music. However, it is my hope and prayer to take the music even beyond the Ugandan and probably African borders, so I can be able.
All right, we'll move on. In this COVID pandemic era, how has that changed how you're operating? This is for everyone. How does that change how you guys are operating? Are you more creative? Are you able to make money in this time? Are you able to sell items? Like, how are you activating your network now that we can't go out and basically do tours, etc.?
My side, we went out and bought a bunch of equipment and lights and stuff and like cameras, and we even bought like 2 stages and a whole one of the big mixes that they use at like the festival shows and stuff, just to be able to still put out like performances and stuff like that. And we just shop them around. Like corporates always want something to buy to attach their brand to it, so we just shop it around and they pick it up and then they put the agenda along with it. You know, so been able to maintain like that.
Mereba?
Yeah, I've been you know, adjusting, but kind of similar. Like I have a setup at home, so I record at home. And when things first hit, I can't say that I was really inspired because I feel like what I make is very connected to, you know, where I am emotionally. I was trying to figure out what was going on, but I've been creating a lot more again. And similarly, like doing performances and kind of partnering with different brands and platforms to work with during these times. But it's just an adjustment, you know. I feel like I've been focusing on the things I can control, which is the energy I give out into the world and the, I guess, hopefulness that I can give to people who might feel even more uncertain than I do right now. And just trying to stay in tune with myself, stay calm, stay positive. But yeah, it's been an interesting adjustment for sure so far.
Bobby?
They did not have to adjust to anything because for 2.5 years, my music was banned on stage and I could not perform anywhere in Uganda. So all I could do is perform live online. And anytime I had to perform, I had to fly out of my country. So whenever I was not performing outside Uganda, I would perform online. So it was just a continuation. The COVID pandemic just found me in the same situation, and my fellow artists here in the country are just adjusting to it, and I've been more or less a consultant because it's been the usual thing for me. However, it has also given me more ideas and how to collaborate and connect with other artists. About making money, it has not been my focus to make money. My desire has always been reaching out as far wide as possible to whoever cares to listen to the message that I give through my music. So yeah, for me, it has been life as usual since it started 2.5 years ago.
Got you. So you were already on the pivot.
Definitely.
Wonderful. I have been so inspired by all of these conversations. My goodness. Reek, you have anything in closing?
Me?
I want to thank everyone for their art, and you know, it hasn't fallen upon deaf ears, and just thank you all for continuing to inform. I feel like what I do and what you all are doing and have been doing, it just happens to also be entertaining, but it's more informative. So let's continue to inform people and continue to tell these stories, because it's super important. It's more important now than ever for us to inspire and for us to, you know, incite that spark, especially within the young people, because any change that's going to be brought about in the world is going to be, you know, a youth movement. So we need to continue to inspire and incite the youth in that way. So just thanks to everybody for taking part in this conversation.
It's not just because it's Africa Day. Tariq and I started this almost a month ago now, and just out of sheer need to be able to contact and be able to connect with people across the diaspora. Personally, I've been going back and forth for the past 2 or 3 years, and the more I go, the more I want to stay. Thank you so much for being a part of this and sharing with us. We're going to exchange information online so that we can continue this bridge outside of this, create art together, create more stories together.
Yeah, well, I got a joint already with, I have 2 songs with Tobe and Mereba. You and I have, you know, sent some stuff back and forth. We've been talking about collaboration.
Yes.
So yeah, now Bobby and Nasty C, I wanna, you know, let's get on some joints, man.
Bro, definitely. It's always been a goal of mine. You know, like how like the band stuff doesn't really go with like the new school music and stuff. Like I try it out sometimes with like band players, but it'll be like young niggas, and it's different. Like I need to do it with you, like with an OG, like on some OG young bull.
Somebody that got 10,000 hours plus. What's Questlove say? You got to practice for these 10,000 hours.
You just got to put in those hours as a live musician. But I jump on whatever. I jump on, you know, digital tracks, live instrumentation, the human beatbox, whatever. I'm gonna go. So you don't gotta wait until you have the song with live instruments to say, oh, I'm gonna reach out the thought. I jump on whatever you feeling.
All right, I got you. I appreciate you too, bro.
Yep, love, man. Thank you guys
appreciate
for y'all
for having me.
Cheers, guys.
It's
a pleasure. Yeah, man. Peace out. Such a pleasure. And take care of yourself. One love.